Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another fantastic presentation. I'm very, very happy that we have right now none other than Dr. Terri Levine, who is known as a business mentoring expert with a heart. She is one of the world's top business and marketing strategists and known for consulting with business owners to help them move from ineffective traditional sales into marketing and operational methods into effective, authentic, and transparent people-centered communication models. She has over 30 years of business, sales, and marketing experience and has helped over 6,000 business owners reach revenue goals they never thought possible. She is one of the world's foremost experts on how to market a coaching business. And she has built and sold several multi-million-dollar companies and is a best-selling author of over 40 books and a highly requested keynote speaker at events and conventions throughout the world. And I can attest to that because I've been chasing Dr. Terri Levine for a long while until we managed to get this presentation. So I'm very excited because today Dr. Levine will present on the topic of conversion equation, how to get a conveyor belt of qualified prospects each day. So Dr. Terri, thank you so much for saying yes to our invitation, and I cannot wait to learn from you. Thank you so much.
I am really happy to be here. One of the things that I love to do and that I've been doing in business for a long time, as you said, is sharing breakthrough information that can actually change how someone's business works. And the conversion equation is interesting because most people are doing this wrong. I'm going to teach you what truly works. And when my client family members switch over to this, they're shocked at how quickly they can get a conveyor belt of leads and scale their companies and their businesses fast. So first, let me talk about the mistakes that you're probably making and see if any of these sound familiar. You spend time creating an email list. You spend time emailing the list. You spend time, maybe even money on social media and constantly posting or responding. Okay. Maybe you do some advertising online or offline. Does it sound like any? Okay. Maybe you spend time networking and having one-to-one meetings or going to group meetings, any of that. Lots of people do that. So here's what typically happens is people come to me after they've been doing all those methods and they're a bit burned out. In their businesses, they wanted to create more influence, more impact, and more income so that they can provide for their families and leave a legacy, maybe even a wealth dynasty. And yet, it seems like their days are filled up with things that they don't want to be doing. So what I always look at is, why did you get in the business that you're in? So let's talk about that before I give you the equation. Years ago, I left my position as CEO of a national healthcare company 33 years ago, I believe, to become a business consultant and coach. Yeah, when I say that, I'm like flabbergasted. It seems like yesterday. And I was able to have 30 clients in my first 30 days, built that business to about 500,000 in year one. Year two, we did $1 million, and we've done millions since. And here's the important part. I'm not saying that to be braggadocious. I personally work about 21 hours a month. And let me explain this.
What do you do for the rest of the time?
I live my life. I sit on the 4 different foundation boards. I work out. I take walks. I spend time with family and friends. I'm living my life, right? I'm living my life. What I didn't like doing was growing an email list, sending out emails, doing a newsletter. I can't stand the amount of time that could be wasted on social media and money. So I've run my business very differently. This is my 8th multi-million-dollar business. I have many businesses that I've sold, and I created this formula for myself, this conversion equation that is completely different than what most people do. So let me first tell you what the value is in it. Number one, it lets you stay in your zone of brilliance and genius. I became a coach and consultant because I'm really good at that. And all I want to do is transform people's lives and businesses. I don't want to do all that other stuff. I don't want to go I have to check my email or let me go post on social media. I don't want to do that. I want to focus on transforming the lives and businesses of the people who raise their hand and let me know that they want help. I don't want to do the other stuff. So there's a distinction here. Most people go into business and end up running a business, which is a job, a job. They're doing all these tasks, wearing every hat: human resources, social media director, copywriter, content creator. We can go on and on, podcaster, blogger. They don't have a life. And their business is running them, and they don't have time freedom, which is one thing people want in their own business. So the distinction I want to make right up front is I teach people how to run their own companies. Here's the difference. I run a company. I sit in the CEO chair. I'm the visionary. I'm the strategist. I'm not the doer, implementer bee. The only thing that I do is what I'm great at: coaching, consulting, mentoring. Everything else is handled by a team. So, all right, with all of that background, now let's get into the conversion equation. I really do suggest you take notes on this. This goes along with one of my best-selling books. Perfect, you're all set. It is called The Conversion Equation. So if you also want to get the book goes into a lot more detail. Plus, here's a big advantage. It gives you a ton of case studies, real clients, exactly what they did. And you're going to find some people in there that you can go, oh, if I just followed what John did or what Jennifer did, I can follow that and have the same results. So here's the equation. Step number one, and I'll explain each step, is interrupt. That's a writer downer. Interrupt. You're a good student. So what do I mean by interrupt? Well, think about it. People are busy. They have busy lives, and they are getting bombarded with marketing messages. I use Gmail. I open my Gmail, there's sponsored ads. I go to social media. It's filled with promotions and ads. I don't know about you. I hate looking at any of my messaging services. I was just on LinkedIn and my email was like full, and I see the same thing, right? So we're getting bombarded with messaging more than ever before. Emails get delivered with, spam and messaging. So what happens is the human brain has two modes. It has uptime and it has downtime. And most of the day, we spend our day in downtime. It's very unconscious, right? Here's my example for this. Have you ever driven someplace and then gone, I don't even remember driving through that, or did I have a red light? Okay, that's downtime. That's the best way I can explain downtime. Your brain unconsciously is like, I know this road, I'm just doing it, and you're not really paying close attention. When we're scrolling, particularly on social media, our brain is in downtime. We're like, boom, boom, boom. We're looking for something intriguing.
Yeah.
When you send emails, people are looking at emails, and I just realized I missed something important in my company. We're in a meeting this morning, and one of my team members said, did you review that document I sent you a week ago Tuesday? And I'm like, document? It's like, it was in your email. Like, oh my gosh, I'm sure it was in my email. I missed it because there's so much spam, even from someone in my company. So we have to take a moment and snap somebody out of downtime into uptime. Like, I'm in uptime right now. I'm totally present. I want to help. I'm serving. You're clearly in uptime. You're listening, watching, and taking notes. That's uptime. So I want you to think of the conversion equation, first step, interrupt, as I have to take the human brain and I have to get that person to pay attention to my message. How do we do that? Well, first of all, the message has to be something really intriguing, really exciting, really unusual, and really different. If it's the same messaging, I don't pay attention. So I'm going to give you an example. I love this example. I was in a Facebook group and I was scrolling through the group a couple of weeks ago. And one guy put in there, if you want more clients, say me. And I'm like, well, all right, it's interesting. It's certainly not going to catch my attention. And then I look and I see 6 or 7 other people with almost the same thing. Say me, DM me. I just wrote this great report. I'm like, I'm out of this Facebook group, right?
Yeah.
Because no one was interrupting me. So think about interrupting. What if I said to you, I have a magic formula that will get you 3 new clients tomorrow. Let me know if you're interested. That's interrupting. And it's interrupting only the people who want what I'm mentioning. You don't want to interrupt everybody. So
Yeah.
this goes along with this concept of sort, sift, and separate. You want to sort out the people who are like not interested. You want to separate the people who go, might be me. And you want to absolutely have the best people sifted up to the top, raising their hand. Oh, that's me. I would like to have 3 new clients before the end of the month or whatever it might be. So again, it's sort, sift, separate the cream of the crop, folks. And step number 1 does that. So I'm going to ask you all to be honest. I'm going to ask you to answer this question for yourself. Is your website, your funnels, your landing pages, your social media profiles, or your emails, everything that you do, is it unique and different? Because if it's familiar, you're not interrupting. So I'm going to give you my way of testing this. Ready for this?
Yes.
The first thing I want you to do is I want you to look at your own website and social media, and I want you to ask yourself and be honest, could I cross out my name and put the name of another person in there? So for example, I'm a business consultant. Does my website look and sound like everybody else's? Could Joe Schmo go, yep, I could say what Terri says. If the answer is yes, you're not going to interrupt anyone because you're just part of the noise. You're a lookalike in a sea of lookalikes. Does that make sense so far?
Absolutely.
Okay. The next test that I want you to ask is, again, looking at your social media, your emails, your website, funnels, landing pages, everything, is this question. And I call it the so what questions. Let me explain it. I was on a site the other day and this person said, I have had 12 years of experience and I have 9 certifications. And I went, so what? What does that do for me? That's lovely for your ego. So people always say to me, why don't you go by Dr. Terri, or why don't you list your PhD everywhere? And I'm like, because that's a so what for my audience. Why do they care? They don't care that I went to school for X number of years and have X degree. They only care about one thing. Can you deliver the result that you say you're going to deliver?
There is another question here that I heard from my friends who are very good at doing YouTube videos. And the question they always ask is, what's in it for me? So if you can answer this question from the audience, then it's kind of like the so what question, basically.
Exactly. So we're doing 2 tests. We're doing that sort of scratch out right off test. And then we're doing this so what. I'll give you an example of a so what. I am looking to have hurricane shutters put in my home in Mexico. And I had 3 different companies come. And the first company, they gave me like a 25-minute pitch on how long they've been doing this. And okay. I wasn't all that interested. Like, they did not keep me it all interrupted. I'm like, they're a hurricane shutter company. Just give me the number of the proposal. This company that came, they explained quite a bit about hurricane shutters. So it was informational. And they talked a lot about, we have the best quality, we've been in business this many years. Again, wasn't about me. The third company, they're a lot more expensive. And this is true. I don't know a thing about buying hurricane shutters. It's my first experience. I hired them. Believe me, I'd rather save the money, and here's why. They explained how these shutters were of benefit to me. They showed me videos of hurricanes in the area that I live in and people who had regular shutters versus these shutters. They showed me the material and they said to me, see which material you personally think is stronger. Here's the guarantee. They showed me everything. They not only interrupted me, you just said the WIIFM, right? What's in it for me? I was tuned to that station and I went, yeah, I want to protect my home. I'm going to get the best hurricane shutters I can. And they showed me, they interrupted me and got me to believe that these are the best. What's in it for me? I gave my credit card.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's step 1. All right, let's go to step 2. Now, if you have succeeded at interrupting someone and they're like, okay, that's me. You're sorting, sifting, and separating, and now they're paying attention. Here's what you also need to know. if the human brain doesn't stay in uptime, it goes right back to downtime. So while you might have succeeded at interrupting me and I go, oh, that's interesting, all of a sudden, I'm done, I'm gone. And by the way, I had this interesting experience. Someone asked me to submit a chapter in a book and asked me to record my story. And I said, record my story because it's the story of when I was 16 and it's kind of interesting. It might help others. And so they had interrupted me and I was like all excited to do that. And then the day kind of got away from me. I have no idea where that email even is. Thank goodness they followed up and called me. And I said, I don't even know what I did with that. So, and unless right after you interrupt them, you engage them, and I'll teach you how to do that, their brain is right back in downtime. They're gone. They're gone. So if you really want a conveyor belt of prospects and you want it fast, we have to make sure we engage. So how do you engage? Well, people get engaged by data and by information. And the third way is by the unfamiliar. I'll say that again. Data, information, and unfamiliar. So I get asked this a lot. I meet a lot of people who are in business consulting, business coaching, life coaching, business coaching, whatever it might be. And they say, how do I stand out in a sea of lookalikes? And I say, well, first, it's the way you interrupt. And second is the way you engage. So, I find it fascinating. So many people, the way that they engage or they think they engage is, okay, I got your attention. Now I'm going to DM you. Okay, that's not a good way to engage. It's a good way to turn somebody off. The best way to engage somebody. So let's say I say, I'm going to take one person and show them how to create a conveyor belt of leads and scale their business fast. Who would like that? Okay. The first thing I did was I interrupted. If that's not of interest to you, you're out. Now, if you're interested, I have to engage you instantly. So my instantaneous way of engaging might be, did you know there's two different ways of doing this? Are you familiar with what they are? So now it's data or information that's unfamiliar and that you're not used to. So you're like, no, what is that? Your brain stays in uptime. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Clear? Okay. So we've interrupted, we've sort sifted and separated, we've engaged. Now, this step is missing from most marketing. So if you've made this mistake, it's a learning and you're just going to move forward. The third step is educate. And let me explain that. What I find is that people go into pitching right away. Oh, I interrupted you, potentially. I engaged you, not so much. Here's my offer. Join my program, buy this. I'm having a Black Friday special. I'm having a Cyber Monday, whatever it is. And they're instantly pitching. I don't know about you. When I get pitched that quickly, it's sort of like somebody wants to have some kind of long-term relationship with me. It doesn't even know me. It's like, Terri, we don't need to go on a date. I'm not going to buy you flowers, but let's go. And it really turns me off. So educate. How do you educate? You teach. Could be a webinar. It could be a live stream. It could be a class. It could be a challenge. It could be a boot camp. It could be sending them to a podcast that you've done or appeared on. It could be sending them to an article, a blog, a free report, a template, a checklist, something that they instantly get without a pitch that's high value. So I send people over to one of my master classes and it's totally free. It's not a sales pitch in disguise. They go there, they take notes, they learn. That's what happens every single day. I have a Facebook group with, I don't know, it's about 8,000 people in there. I'm not pitching every day. I'm in there constantly educating, giving away truly some of my top value, my best value as a way of serving people. So I wear a little bracelet and it says serve and create. And every single day, all I have to do, I don't have a to-do list or anything like that. I wake up and I go serve and create. The end of the day, when I've served and created, I turn my bracelet over. It has a check mark. I've transformed lives. I've done what I'm here to do. So we've interrupted, we've engaged, now we've educated. Any question about that before we get to the next step?
No, I like it. I'm just, go, baby, go.
Okay. I love teaching this, so I will give more. So now that we followed the formula, interrupt, engage, educate, the final step is to offer. And I want to explain offer in my terms.
Mm-hmm.
An offer is not a pitch. It's not manipulation. It's not overcoming objections. It's not even selling. An offer is extending your hand and seeing if someone wants to take your hand. So I make an offer like this. Hey, Maria, I'm so glad that you watched my webinar, 6 Figs in 6 months. I'm hoping you got value. If you would like to have more help, my program is now open and you can join here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. It's that simple. And then I don't keep following up and following up. I know that when I was in sales a long, long time ago, they always taught the fortune is in the follow-up. I find that the follow-up gets very pitchy and turns many people off. I don't make a fortune from follow-up. Our company, we average 3 to 4 million a year for, I don't know, last 27 years or so, without selling, without pitching, without ads. We simply interrupt, engage, educate, and then we extend our hand, and a percentage of people who it's right for simply can say yes. It doesn't feel icky. I have a client right now, and she came to me. She said, I'm really good, Terri, with following your formula, interrupt, engage, educate. When it goes to offer, I get butterflies and I feel sick. I said, that's because you're selling and you're not coming from your heart, simply saying, I'd love to help you further. If that resonates with you, here's what it would look like. If you say it and feel it like that, it's not going to be ugly. It's not going to be.
Yeah.
So you have the formula, and I'm going to go deeper on this. I want to go into, so now that you understand the formula, how do you really create this conveyor belt of leads, and how do you scale? And the first thing I'm going to tell you is you teach by example. I have a client family member. She's been with me 6 months, right at the 6 month mark. And she was getting leads. A lot of them weren't right. She was spending time on the phone with them and they weren't qualified, or they didn't have the funds, or they really were looking for a different outcome. And so I had her stop doing all of that. And I had her start doing a monthly interactive webinar. Again, that's the freebie. She gave a ton of value. She followed what I'm going to teach you now with the formula. And she has a conveyor belt of leads every day. In fact, this past week, a week ago, she had 4 new client family members join her $5,000 program. That's $20,000 in that week. Okay.
Wow.
It's great. And she has what I have. Literally, we wake up every single day and people are raising their hands to work with us. And by the way, I call that, you'll see it in the book, I call it reverse marketing. So instead of you spending your day hunting for new client family members, you transform the lives of the people in front of you and your prospects, and the other people simply raise their hand. I got one this morning. She sent me a message to my messenger service at Facebook and said, I decided I really would like to join your program and I don't have the link. That's not me following up. That's her raising her hand. I'm like, oh, here's the link. And 2 minutes later, she's in the program. Okay. That's the reverse marketing. So there's 2 different ways that you can create this conveyor belt really, really fast. And I'm going to go over those ways. The first way is the way most entrepreneurs are doing it. They're doing everything themselves. They're wearing every hat. They're doing every administrative task, blah, blah, blah. The other way is to have 99% of it done for you, right? That's the difference between having a business where you keep busy in a busyness, or owning a company where you're truly in the CEO chair. And I want you to think about this. Most people start their businesses without thinking of the end in mind. Years and years ago, I wrote a book with Ken Blanchard and Stephen Covey, and Stephen Covey talked about start with the end in mind. why did you get into your business? And really, you have to have an exit strategy. You have to, that makes sense. And think about this. Let me say this and don't lose your thought because I don't want to lose this. And then I'll come to you. If something would happen, God forbid, you couldn't work, you got sick, or maybe you just want to take a vacation and lay on a beach somewhere for a month. If your money comes in through one-to-one trading time for money, your business stops. So you want to think about, am I going to create a wealth dynasty? Am I going to create a legacy for my family? Or am I going to sell the business? You want to think about the end. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's great. One thing that a lot of people, I think a lot of coaches and therapists for that matter, for them, coaching and therapy is like their life. And they identify with this very, very much. So when you mention selling a business, for most people, that is kind of like, it doesn't even exist in their mind, because it's like, I want to make my business more and more successful. And therefore, if I sell this, then what would I do? Right. So can you explain that a little bit, what it actually means by selling a business? Because it's a very confusing idea for most people.
So I love this. When I do live seminars, I will often ask this question: who are you? And I get answers like, I'm a chiropractor, I'm a therapist, I'm a coach. That's not who you are. That's what you do. And here's why people get confused. Their ego gets tied into what they do. If you ask me, who are you? I will say to you, I'm a person who's happy, who loves life, who lives in the moment, who dedicates her time, money, and energy to the greater good. I would not say I'm a coach or I'm a consultant. That's what I do for a living. That is what I do that not only earns money, but that's something I'm also passionate. It's not who I am. It's not all who I am. So this is an important point. I'm glad you brought up the distinction. You cannot be the brand. And I'll give you the prime example. Tony Robbins has been trying to remove himself as the head of the company, as the brand, for 22, 23, 20, 27 years. He's tried everything. He tried doing an event where you paid and thought Tony was going to speak and other speakers came. That failed. He tried bringing in other people. That failed. Why? He built the whole thing around himself. Me, I'm Tony Robbins. Lovely ego. Your ego, as my friend Joel Bauer says, is not your amigo. He can never sell this company. He has to keep doing this. And the minute he stops doing it, it's all over. My good friend, Chet Holmes, passed away years ago. And when Chet's company when Chet died, his company pretty much died. Even though his daughter took it over, the brand was Chet. You cannot be the brand. So while I love what I do, wake up every day, can't wait to do what I do and transform lives. And I have no intention of stopping. If something were to happen to me, my company could continue without me because there's other people. It's not just.
And how do you do that? Because that's very tricky, and a lot of people, like you so well nailed this, because a lot of people, I am my business, and for instance, I'll give you an example from the marketing world. At some point, I don't know if you're familiar with Neil Patel, who is like one of the biggest guys in SEO marketing.
Yes.
And he said, if I were to start all over again, I would not use my name as the brand, because now it's difficult for me to step away from it because of this, because I'm the brand and I don't want to be the brand anymore. I want to do something else. And so a lot of people say, it's like, this is Eugene Popa, the one and only, this is so-and-so I'm doing, and I'm changing people's life, and I'm so fantastic and amazing. And I need that. I'm doing that because I want to be known. And it's difficult for people to have success without them being known, but more like their company being known. So how do you draw that line? How do you what's the mystical or scientifical sauce that you create so that you can have a successful company and business, but not building it on your own name.
Perfect. So that's a very good point, Eugene. The first thing is do not name your company your name. Okay. My company is called Entrepreneur. It's not called. That is, again, your ego, which is not your amigo. Okay. One of the fallacies is that you need a personal brand. And I have to say, I feel like yucky even saying personal brand. You are not a brand. You are a human being. You are not a hashtag. All right. You're, a mom, a dad, a partner, whatever it is. You are a complicated human being, part of a generation, and you are not a brand. And so that's the first thing we need to say. Do not name anything around your name or your company name. The reality is, and there's been a lot of studies on this, Fast Company has a great article on this, that people who name their businesses with their own name never can sell their companies, have difficulty later in their lives when perhaps they can't do what they were doing. And it just doesn't work to be the brand. Personal branding, in my experience, is the wrong way to position yourself. You don't want to set your company up to be you as the brand. By the way, the concept of brand is an identity for a company. And over the years, somehow people thought, I'll be my own brand. All right, you notice, if Steve Jobs had been, I'm the brand, Apple wouldn't be successful under Tim Cook. If Bill Gates said Microsoft, it's Bill Gates Incorporated.
Micro Gates.
There you go. So that's the first thing I want you to think about. And by the way, if you've made the mistake, it's changeable. Being totally transparent. My first company in the coaching consulting space was called Comprehensive Coaching. And then later we changed to Comprehensive Coaching U because we owned a coach training university. Wasn't under my name, made the right decision. I made a really bad decision about 10 years into the business where my ego took over and we changed the name of the company. Check this out. It's embarrassing to say this, Eugene. Terri Levine Worldwide. Oh, yeah. What a big deal I am. And I noticed that everyone expected everything to revolve around me. So if another coach or consultant met with them, if someone on my team got with them to see if they were qualified to work with me, people were like, no, I want to talk to Terri. Why can't I talk to Terri? Think about it. Bill Gates. Let's go back to Bill Gates. When Bill Gates was running Microsoft, did he get on the phone with you? Did you go, Bill, I'm thinking of using Microsoft products. Can I schedule a meeting with you? Of course, that didn't happen. You have got to get in the right position. You have to sit in the CEO strategic chair. And this is the problem and why it's not just coaches and consultants, it's most entrepreneurs and therapists. I'm also a therapist, why most of them fail in their own business. They have no idea how to create a company. They have no end in mind. And then their ego takes over and it's like, yeah, this is my business and I'm great at it. And I love doing this. And I just want to work with people. And that's wonderful. That's a lovely hobby that will not bring you consistent income, will not get you to 6 and 7 figures, will not have a conveyor belt of leads. And you really have to think about this. If you get sick or if something happens in your family and you have to stop working to take care of a family member, I've been there. No income comes in because you're not doing the thing that you do, which is a job. You have a job. If you're trading time for money, you have a job with a limited income. There's just so many hours you can work. There's just so many people that can work with you.
And I also want to add something here because you said, something very important with a limited income. And from this perspective, limited income can mean 7 figures a year. If it still revolves around you, and if your business revolves around you and you make 7 figures, imagine how much you would make if it won't revolve around you.
Totally true. Totally true. I'll tell you how this hit me, Eugene. When I first started coaching and consulting, I said I had 30 clients in 30 days. And we built the business up really fast. And all of a sudden I had a waiting list. I couldn't take anybody else. And I sat down one day and I said, I'm at my maximum amount of clients, probably not at the ceiling of how much I could charge, but let's just say that I was close.
Yeah.
I can never make any more money. Like, this is what I'm going to make. And it required me to work 65 hours a week. Like,
Yeah.
more time freedom when I was CEO of a national healthcare company. I need more money. So you have to really think about what is it that you're really doing? Are you trading time for money? Are you living your life with a lot of freedom? I work an average of 21 hours a month. I make a massive difference. I impact so many, not just my client family members' lives, so many other people's lives by books and articles and webinars and podcasts. I just give. That's what I show up to, right? That was my serve and create on my bracelet every single day. 21 hours a month. Why? I stay in my zone of genius, coaching and consulting. That's my zone of genius. Everybody else does everything else using something that I call the magic coaching formula. And what that is a way to bring you this conveyor belt of leads every day. Somebody else gets leads for me. I don't sit here looking and hunting for leads. I focus on what I do best, my clients. And you've got to, not only when you get leads, you've got to know, how do I take that lead and how do I turn that lead without being salesy and all of that into a long-term high-paying client? So I think of it as a formula. Leads times impact equals freedom. Say that again.
Say that again, please.
Leads times impact equals freedom. I'll explain this a little bit deeper by kind of sharing a little secret here.
Yes, ma'am.
In my experience, making money as a coach, consultant, therapist, making money in any business. I said this is my 8th multi-million-dollar business. They've all been in different industries. It's easy. Everyone breathe, because you might be going, it's easy if you focus on one thing, and that is your area of genius, your area of genius. So I like to teach by example. Let me share some examples here.
Yes, please.
If you're responding for hours on end to emails, social media posts.
Stop talking. Say no more. I hope my wife won't listen to this presentation.
Let me give you the other one. A lot of client family members that come to me start with this. They're endlessly having conversations with people, virtual coffees, or people who they think want to hire them, but when they get on the phone, either the person has no money or is pitching them. I call that the tire kickers all day. Or let me think of I know what else. They're busy behind their computers, kind of hiding. They're building funnels and they're building websites and they're creating content all day. Oh, the other one, I have to mention this one, is they're spending a ton of money on paid ads. Okay. Let's see if any of these ring a bell. Living in a constant state of fear. Where's my money going to come from? Where's the next client coming from? I want people to see if these are familiar. These are what I label distractions. They're not actions. That's the problem. They're distractions. And this is why you're not making the kind of money you want. This is why you're not creating the kind of impact that you can be creating. So let's go through this magic coaching formula. Again, it's leads times impact equals freedom. Leads times impact equal freedom. Okay. So let's see. Can you say yes to this? I spend my days only in my zone of genius, giving to my clients and my prospects.
Me personally, no.
Okay. And I'm going to guess that most of our listeners and viewers can't. Okay. And this is the big problem. And how do I know this problem? I'm always very transparent. I've been there myself. Okay. I used to be not much different than anyone else. And what was really frustrating me was I just wanted to create impact. I just wanted to make a difference. And yet there was all these moving pieces that distracted me from giving. And what was even more frustrating for me was I want to serve more people, and yet I really can't because I have all these other tasks to do. There's no more time. When I figured out this magic coaching formula, I don't even know how to say this, like my business exploded. I think back at the time, we're doing about 1.2 million a year. And I was working, I don't know, being transparent, probably 80 hours a week. When I figured this formula out, the business literally in 1 year went to over 3 million. And all of a sudden I didn't have to work that many hours. And I'm going to show you how I did that. Well, there's another secret though. I better give you that secret too. Let's solve the magic coaching formula. Okay. I took a group of people who were skilled in either the tasks I didn't want to do, like I hate email, I can't stand email, or the task that it doesn't have to be my zone of genius. Do I really have to do the spreadsheets and the P&Ls? Do I have to create PowerPoints or headers or footers or edit videos? No, I do what I do. I coach and I consult. That's what I do. So what I did is I created a team. I found the people who were brilliant in all of the areas and all of the tasks that were taking my time. And then I taught them all the processes I had been using successfully. So let's just say I brought someone on to create YouTube videos. I knew how to create them. This guy was way better than me. And I just shared, here's my processes. Then what happened for me was clients kept coming to me and they said, I want what you have. I want to work 21 hours a month. I want to help tons of people. I don't even care if I make 3 million. I could live on 200,000. I don't care, Terri. I just want to make a bigger impact. I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay. So I took 5 clients, Eugene, I think this was about a year ago now. I took 5 clients and said, hand over everything you don't want to do. And let me see if my team that does it for me can do it for you. And let's see what happens. I have no idea. So I gave them, literally handed them my team, my resources, my processes, my systems, and my people. And what happened was my team built for them and optimized for them every system they needed in their business to get that conveyor belt of qualified prospects every single day, just the way I do, that reverse marketing. And what they loved about it was they were getting all the benefits of having this done for them. They were working less hours. They weren't stressed. They weren't overwhelmed, they weren't confused. I know there's so much information on the internet. There's so many people. You can get really confused. You can be like, does that work? Should I be doing this? Oh, somebody told me to do this. Maybe I should do this. Or you see somebody doing something, you go, oh, I'll just model that. Well, how do you know it's going to work for you? It might have worked for that person. It might work for personality. So I turned it over and said, you know, if this works for you 5, you could invest in my team. And if it doesn't work for you 5, I gave it to you for a month for free as a trial. I had no idea. And not like it would work. They were like in love with it. They're like, I want to keep doing this. So the reason I decided that we would actually do it for people is I was watching people try to put their own teams together. And they didn't have the right people on the bus, so to speak. I was talking with one of my clients just the other day. She's in integrative health. And I said to her, I know you love this gal. She's been with you for 6-7 years. She's not the right person. Her social media posts do not follow the conversion equation, which is why you're getting no views. Her lack of response on the social media posts, it doesn't create any engagement. And I've listened to her make an offer, and it's kind of like this. Well, I think that Dr. Polly can help you. What do you think? So she's not sitting in the leadership chair. People want you to tell them, they want you to give advice. It's very difficult. And yet my client said, okay, I hired you, so I'll follow your advice. So she made a change. And then we just put somebody else in her place that I already have, that's already trained and that we hand over. So you have choices. You can do this all yourself, or you can work with other people who can do it for you. Whether you came to our agency doesn't matter to me at all. What I'm advocating more than, oh, use our agency, because I really don't care, is find people to help you. So you build a company. And this is going to sound weird, Eugene. Do it today. I don't care if you have one client or you're a startup or you have a big business. Why today? Because as I said, something could happen. Anything could happen to you, your family. You can't work. Tomorrow, who's going to go serve those clients if you really care about them? So I'm going to back up. I'm going to take you way back to my first business. I came out of graduate school with a master's as a speech language pathologist. What I knew how to diagnose and how to treat speech and language disorders. What I didn't know, how to operate a business, how to do sales, marketing, P&Ls, systems, I knew nothing. So I go and I rent office space and I sit there for 2 weeks. The phone never rings. Nobody comes in. And I've invested in renting office space plus all the equipment that I need. So I'm like baffled. So I don't know what to do. Don't forget, I have no training, nothing.
Build it and they'll never come, huh?
Exactly. Exactly. It's field of dreams. It doesn't work. And so what I did was I hired another speech language pathologist. Now, this was about the scariest thing that I ever did. I started my business because I wanted to be a speech language pathologist, all ego. I have college for this. I am going to be a speech pathologist, right? I'm like, you know what? I better start marketing this and I better be doing that full time. Yet if somebody wants to come into the clinic and I can't also work with them. So I hired a speech language pathologist. I took out a small business loan, petrified, because at the time my husband and I had no money, college loans, we were in debt. So the very first day that this speech pathologist starts, I'm very upfront. I'm like, I don't have any patients yet. I'm not sure what you can even do. And she's like, I'm going to organize your office. I'm going to get things ready as if we have patients. I started marketing, scared to death, never marketed before, going to talk to doctors, pretty much begging them to refer. And then I realized maybe I could do some talks. So local schools brought me in to speak. And then I said, well, we could see these kids at the clinic for free. We can do a diagnostic assessment. At the end of about 60 days of doing this, she had a full book of patients. And I went, I want some patients too, because that's what I went to school for. It's fun. So I worked with patients. I think I did about 10 hours a week. She had patients around 30 hours a week. That was 40 hours. And then I started building in a receptionist and a billing person. By the end of 3 years, I looked around, and don't forget, I didn't know a thing about anything. I'm like, I built a company. Now, the end of year 3, a gentleman walked into my clinic, and my clinic was in Danville, Illinois. It was in farm country, and most people, you know, dressed in jeans or whatever. This guy walked in a blue suit, and my receptionist called me and said, there's a guy in a blue suit, and he's asking for Mrs. Levine. I'm like, uh-oh. So I'm thinking it ought to be like an insurance thing, like, oh my gosh, did we screw something up? I'm scared to death. So here I'm standing in front of the guy, and he says, we're looking to buy speech language pathology clinics. Is yours for sale? Now here's all ego. Of course it's not for sale. I went to school for 6 years. I spent a ton of money building, and I just got all up and like insulted. Handed me his card. I went home that night and said to my husband, can you believe this? Now, just so you know, husband, he's a financial advisor.
The entitlement I have over the business.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I'm just putting it all out there. My husband's a financial advisor. Thank God I have the guy's card. My husband goes, stop talking. Give me the card. Looks at the card. He says, I want you to call the guy in the morning. I want you to arrange lunch for you and me with him, and you can't speak during lunch. Can you tell that that's really hard for me? Really hard. Okay, so off I go. We sit down at lunch. My husband did have to kick me numerous times. I was able to sell this company that I built in 3 years, knowing nothing, for $1 million, which in 1983, that
Wow.
million was a lot of money. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the lesson in that. You have to build something beyond you. You're not.
And when you sold it, did you feel like a part of you went away? Did you feel like dying inside? Were you exhilarated? Were you happy? How was that for you?
I'm glad you asked that question. So that being the first company that I sold, for a few days, I felt a little sadness, like my patients and my clinic. And then what happened is my husband said, go start something else. And I thought, what? And I did. Now, the second company, which is the second one that I started, I had that one for, how long do I have? 8 years. We sold that one for 12 million. I was a basket case when we sold that because I had my ego in it. I definitely had my ego there. And then I stayed on as a consultant in my buyout agreement with the company. I was supposed to be there 5 years. It was a large part of the buyout. I only stayed for 2 because the gentleman who bought it was changing it dramatically. And I realized how much that tugged at my heart. And I said, I need to walk away. You don't have to pay me the rest of the money and I'm done. Now, I was able to sell every other company without any issues, Eugene, because when I built them, I said, I am building a company. And again, start with the end in mind. I'm going to sell this. This isn't my, passion. Now, let's fast forward. Entrepreneur is completely my passion. I love what I do. When friends of mine talk about retiring, I'm like, why would somebody retire from something they love? Like retired means you get old and tired. I have zero interest in doing that. However,
so how much are you going to sell a entrepreneur for?
Glad you asked me that. So there is a plan not to sell it. It's going to my family.
Oh, inheritance.
Exactly. There is someone in place in my family to continue the legacy. Now, I have had offers for about 10 years. I had an offer even recently. People come and they're, all right, can we buy your company or can we buy it when you decide not to do it? I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to decide not to do it unless something happens to me health-wise where I can't. And second of all, no, this is going to stay in my family. If I was selling this, I would be in tears, quite frankly, because this is something that I built over the last 30 years, and there's a big piece of my heart here. However, I don't want this to die when I die. I want this to continue serving. So does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
So one question that I have from, and I can feel the general unconscious of the coaching and therapy world asking this question. Well, I'm just starting out my business. I've just taken a coaching class or training, or I've been doing coaching for 6 months, a year, a couple of years, and it's just me and I'm looking for clients. I don't know how to build this. I don't know. I don't have the skills, or I don't know who should I hire to make this happen. So I don't have the money to get somebody to pay them, to make the video, to make the articles, to make the social media posts. I don't have that money. I only have my clients, and I'm just, from a month to month kind of a thing.
So you're probably not going to like my answer.
I would love your answer. I'm just voicing. I'm Vox Populi right now. Vox Populi right here.
I appreciate it. The number one reason that businesses fail, and I've done a lot of research on this for over 43 years, is they start out undercapitalized. And so if someone says to me, I don't have the money to X, I don't have the money to Y. Look, I didn't have the money either when I started my first business. I went and got a small business loan. If you don't have the funds, and if you're not qualified for a loan, please get a job. And I really mean that. Do the business as a side hobby, because that's what it is. When you own a company, you have to put money into that company. And if you say, I can't hire a coach, consultant, mentor, I can't hire someone to help me with social media, what I'm saying, typically the cost could be $1,000 a month total. So if you haven't set aside a minimum of 12 grand, I really
Yeah.
mean this. You're not going to make it because it's all you doing everything and you're not skilled at everything. And you're simply trading time for money. It's never going to work. The number one reason that I see coaches and consultants fail every single day is they went into a business undercapitalized and no one ever bothered to tell them they're not going to make it. No one was honest. They struggle for 3, 4, 5 years. They're draining the family's finances. They're frustrated. They're overwhelmed. They're confused. And I just tell it like it is. Either go get a loan and have some capital, or please go get a job. And again, a lot of people don't like my answer. I've worked with over 6,300 people. That's my answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. Absolutely love it.
You're welcome. Anything I didn't cover that you wanted me to touch on?
No, I think we're good. So what I wanted to ask is, and thank you so much for for this wonderful learning session here. It's full of gems for me, and I'm sure for people who are watching. Now you grew your team, right? So and there's a book that I always mention, especially in situations like the one we are doing right now. I forget now the name of the author, but the title of the book is Who, Not How. And this is something I personally am still struggling with. I am still, even today, and I've been doing this for like more than 10 years now, I am still struggling because I still have to, or see my verbiage here, my words. I have to, make a landing page. I have to make a post or X, Y, Z. I already have a team who is doing a lot of work, but there is still, I feel like there is not enough. Like you mentioned about your client, like I want to have a bigger impact, I feel like it's never enough whatever I do. So the question here, with all this blabber on my side, but the question I have is, from your experience, when somebody starts growing and they say, hey, you know what, I have some cash set aside, I want to start growing. And what would you say is the best investment for them to make in terms of who should they hire next?
Great question. 100% get a coach, consultant, or mentor. 100%. By the way, that book is by Dan Sullivan, I believe.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
thank you. Yes.
So let me tell you what I did early on. Don't forget, I had to take out a small business loan. I mean, we had no money. We had a very small apartment in Illinois, and we didn't have furniture. We had a mattress and a card table. Okay, we had no money when we got married. And here I am starting a business, right? So then I need to hire an employee. We have a small business loan for that. Here's what I did next. In 1982, I hired Zig Ziglar as my first mentor and coach. It's truly,
wow.
I believe I'm in this industry. I had no money. All right. We didn't have any new clothes. We had cars that were falling apart. My car used to break down every 2 miles, just stop, turn itself off. We couldn't pay to have it fixed. How did I hire Zig Ziglar? Because I had no money. I went to someone who believed in me and my family. And I said, I can't do this without the guidance of someone. I've never owned a business. I don't know what I don't know. I want this guy, and he's really expensive. And I said, if you believe in me, I will pay you back every penny. A friend of mine gave me the money, gave me the loan. My work with Zig Ziglar totally transformed me, my company, and my thinking. That coaching, consulting, mentoring was life-changing. To this day, there are things that replay in my mind that Zig may have said to me once, and I'm like, oh, thank you. It still pops back in. That was the best investment I ever made. Do not do this alone. Owning your own company or business, however you want to language it, is not a go it alone sport. It is a team sport. And in the book that you just referenced, it's all about how do you build an effective business without overwhelming yourself and killing yourself? And how do you free up hours and hours of your day? Highly recommend. Glad you mentioned the books. Highly recommend the book. And at the same time, if you don't have a coach, consultant, or mentor, get one. And they need to be someone that you want to emulate. They're running faster than you. They're bigger than you. I looked at Ziglar and went back in the day. To me, he was the ultimate. I'm like, if I could be a 10th of Zig Ziglar, and that's how it came to be. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Very much so. Very much so. So hire a mentor, hire someone to coach you, especially coming from the coaching world, but therapy and psychotherapy as well. Like for instance, when you go to a psychotherapy to university to learn psychotherapy, and also with coaching, and also with hypnosis and NLP, you first take a course, and then you have to have continued education. And you have that, from a mentor. But what you said here, in the world of coaching, of course, this is very known. Like you have to have a mentor, you become the mentee. But that is within the coaching skill. Whereas what you just mentioned is, hey, don't have just a mentor for coaching, have a business mentor as well.
Yes, I think it's really important that you have a mentor who is well-rounded in business, sales, and marketing, really well-rounded. And nowadays, marketing is mostly digital marketing. I think that's really, really important. And it may sound odd, not as important that the person necessarily is a coach or a consultant themselves. And I'm going to say that not necessarily. I look, when I hire my own, how many businesses have they built? How successfully have they built them? Do I like the way they talk and they treat people? Do they create a lot of value in the world? Do I resonate with their heart? I have a wonderful guy who's come on as a partner in my company. And the very first time I met him, he's not in the coaching and consulting space. That was a plus. He has the same, he's like a male version of me. It's like we have the same heart. I'm like, oh my God, like you got to be my twin. So that's what I've always looked for in a mentor. And I'll tell you what else. I look for someone who's willing to make a guarantee. Like we guarantee 6 figures in 6 months, or we give your money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who the person is. What is their guarantee? Because I have wasted a lot of money on coaches and consultants that were a lot of fluff. We just had conversations and I'm like, and if I asked a question, how do I do such and such? Well, you know the answer. No, I don't. That's why I'm hiring you. You want someone who's going to give you their expertise and not hold anything back. So I hope that's helpful to you, Eugene.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything that you've been sharing with us. Now, you mentioned your book, you mentioned, the different services you provide and help coaches and therapists from all around the world. Where can people get in touch with you? How can they learn more from you, about you, how they can, train with you or, take you as a mentor?
Thank you. So I'm going to give 2 resources. One is a webinar that I recently put together, tons of value. And that is at 6 figs, F-I-G-S, in 6 months.com, 6 figs in 6 months.com. Just go watch that webinar, take notes, you'll get more value. And then go over to heartrepreneur.com. That's our company official website. And there's resources on there, and there's a way to fill out a form to see if we can get on a call to help you. And again, we don't sell. It's not a sales pitch in disguise. It's to see, based on where you're at, is there any tip or tool that we can give you that you can implement? And those are the 2 best places.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So everyone, go ahead and do that. We'll also we'll also have a list or a selection of some of the books that you've been publishing. They will be on your speakers page, so people can go right ahead and check out the books if they want to purchase them or not. Terri, thank you so much for everything. I am very, very happy and glad that we had the chance to learn from you. Thank you so much, and I hope we connect again soon for future programs.
I have had an absolute joy. Thanks for having me, Eugene, and let's stay connected.
Hallelujah. Everyone, we'll take a quick break now, and after a break, we'll continue with the next presentation, or maybe we'll continue tomorrow, depending which comes first. So go ahead, take a quick break. We'll see you after the break and continue to learn, grow, and share. I'll see you soon.